Enclosures for NVMe drives are really cool because you can take any portable SSD like this Samsung NVMe, and then you can take an enclosure and you can easily have a portable SSD. These are also really nice because you can always swap the drives out on the inside as well if you only want to have one enclosure and several different drives to use separately. This one by Satechi supports drives up to 4 terabytes and it uses USB 3.2 Gen 2 to achieve speeds up to 10 gigabits per second. Now Satechi did send me this enclosure for purposes of making this video, but all the thoughts in this video are my own. They have no input into this content. This is a toolless design that's super easy to install M.2 NVMe or an M.2 SATA SSD straight into it. To use it, just take your SSD and they give you this thermal pad that you want to stick onto the bottom of your SSD. And then you take the enclosure, there's this lever on the side and you flip it to the side and then this sled comes out of it. You'll also find on the inside of the sled there's a little rubber stopper. All I have to do is take the SSD, line it up, put it in at an angle like this, it snaps in, and then you press it down. Then take the little rubber stopper and put it at the corresponding spot. And then you just slide the sled straight in, and it'll snap into place. It's a very simple, minimal design like all the other Satechi products. It looks really great with any Apple products. I tested this with my iPhone, my iPad, and my M1 MacBook Pro. It worked great on all of those different ones. Now, whenever you do set this up for the first time, you probably are going to want to format it. So I do recommend setting this up on a Mac if possible. It'll probably make a pop-up that says SSD not recognized, initialize. Do that, open up disk utility, format this in APFS if you're using it with Apple products. You're going to be using it with other platforms as well. You might use exFAT instead for better cross-platform compatibility. But the design on this is very simple. It's aluminum, does a great job at putting the heat out of it. This does get hot when you use it though, but more on that in a second. It has the slide on one side, you slide that to remove the SSD from it. Then on the back side of it, you do get the USB-C connector. They advertise that you can get speeds all the way up to 10 gigabits per second. Also in the box, we do get a nice medium short length USB-C to USB-C cable. This works great, it feels really high quality. Really like this cable length because it's not so short that you have to have it right by your computer, but it's not so long that there's a bunch of cable management that you have to do with this. Whenever I set this up with my MacBook Pro, I was hitting speeds of about 980 megabytes a second on the write side and 900 megabytes a second on the read. And then when I did a file transfer of about 85 gigabytes, it took about 2 minutes to get the files transferred. After using this enclosure for a while, I did notice it gets a little bit warm to the touch when you're using it, but it never felt dangerously hot or like it was going to be unsafe to be using. But just be aware that most portable SSDs that use the NVMe drives on the inside do get very hot because NVMe drives tend to run hot. This does work fine for video editing as well. I'm just more of a fan of using the fastest possible drives for video editing. I think the big draw to the Satechi USB 3.2 SSD is just the great design it has. All the Satechi products look really sleek, minimal, and modern, and they go perfectly with any Apple products. Satechi does give you a 1-year warranty with this drive, and it comes in at $50, which is a little bit more expensive than some of the other SSD enclosures on the market. But Satechi is known for being reliable, and they have that premium Mac look and feel to their materials. So this is going to be a great option if you want to have that premium look and feel to an enclosure and to be able to swap out NVMe drives. But if you want to have a higher workload editing, then I really recommend looking into a Thunderbolt SSD or also the Satechi USB 4 enclosure, because the Satechi USB 4 enclosure with this same drive is going to support speeds closer to 3,000 megabytes a second, so about 3 times faster than you're going to get with this enclosure. That one does put more heat out, but it also has a better heat sink on it as well. So that Satechi USB 4 would be my pick. It is a little bit more expensive though. But if you're looking for a simple way to add storage to your Mac as a backup drive, or if you want to copy boot drives to other NVMEs, this Satechi USB 3 enclosure is going to be a great, reliable option for you. If you're interested in buying this enclosure, I do have links in the description below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming content. If you have any other questions about this, leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them.